Starting now. So, good afternoon to all of you, Robert, John, Jason, and Brian.
Present.
So, actually, we have started last time on the physiological processes in harvested commodities, we talked about respiration last time, but then we haven't finished until transpiration because I have had a meeting uh when we had our meeting last time. So actually we had a training, that's why there was an
Good
interruption
afternoon,
last
ma'am.
time. Yeah, good afternoon. Because we just arranged your Google Classroom accordingly. So if you notice under classwork, meron na siyang under prelim, tsaka midterm and final after laboratory guide. So dito, I hope you have answered already introduction to post-harvest questions. And so, so three of you haven't answered back yet, no?
Mag-exam taron, ma'am.
Dili. Ipakita lang na ako inyo ang quiz kung kasi nag-answer kinsa wala pa. And once you are ready with your individual ni siya ha, once you are ready with your permits, then I can send you your prelim exam. So going back to our topics on the post-harvest physiological processes. So last time we talked about respiration, aerobic and anaerobic, its differences, classification ng commodities based on respiration rate, highly respiring ba sila, moderate or low. And the different, relationship between respiration and post-harvest life. So I hope you still remember what are climacteric and non-climacteric crops based on respiration patterns. And the condition that slow down respiration, and that is to extend the commodity shelf life. So before we proceed, do you have any concerns or questions? Brian, anyone would like to ask question regarding prelim exam, quizzes, and the topics that we have discussed already? Wala, so we can proceed now.
Yes, ma'am. Maybe later, ma'am.
Okay, so if you remember transpiration, it's actually a water process in plants, or a water evaporation process from plant organs.
Ito sa harvest kaya ko introduction na turuan.
So as shown here in the figure, you have here the plant, wherein you can see the cell parts. This is to differentiate an open and closed stoma. The stomata it's found all over the leaves, up and down, no? So it contains the guard cell, which in the stoma, which control the water evaporation process of plants. So these are mainly in the stomates and lenticels, the stem scars, the injured area, any injured area, or breaks in the cuticle. So, what is transpiration again?
Palit ako ha, hindi ako ka.
So, what is transpiration again? It's a water evaporation process.
Water evaporation.
Yes, and the importance of this water evaporation process in plants, is just like for human beings, we transpire, or we usually nagasingot ta, to cool us down, or cooling effect for plants. So to help dissipate heat of respiration. So respiration takes energy. It is converting the carbohydrates that we eat from the food that we eat and converting it into energy that our body can use for growth, development, and other metabolic activities. So, and it releases heat, so mainit. So we use transpiration also for cooling effect and also for all plants and animals. So this will also help reduce damage due to handling of leafy vegetables and citrus. So does transpiration also occur in after post-harvest life? Jason, meron pa din bang transpiration in post-harvest?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it good or bad? Albert,
Bad, ma'am.
it's bad. Why? Why do you think bad? It says here,
Laya ng ano, ma'am.
so once the transpiration is high, so what will happen is that malaya siya. So actually, although it is stated here that it helps reduce damage due to handling of leafy vegetables and citrus fruits, but it also has a side effects. Whenever it's so hot in the environment or in the air, the harvested commodity like the cut vegetables, leafy vegetables, keeps on dissipating, evaporating. The water is evaporated so that to cool down. No, it will cool down and will also lose some of the, or not only some, but almost of the water inside. So you are right. So sometimes it can be harmful for the shelf life, but then its main function is just to extend the shelf life. So for tightly packed commodities that lose water can become loosely packed, thus can suffer mechanical damage during transport due to movement inside the package. So if you notice also, depending on your packaging material for tightly packed plastic, so it can also produce water, or lose water through that, and even suffer mechanical damage, for during transport and package. So why does the rate of transpiration, when it says here TS, that means transpiration, will cause, what are the conditions that causing higher rates of transpiration? So don't ayaw kalibog if transpiration can, it depends always on the situation, it can either be good or bad for our post-harvest commodities based on the different conditions. Like for example, low relative humidity. This will what causes the transpiration through vapor pressure deficit, Kung halimbawa, the humidity is low, so it means medyo ano siya, wala dili kay humid, wala kayo bugnaw, or wala kaayo kanang water in the air. So in that case, so if you notice, like sa car, kung bugnaw sa sulod, so magmoist sa gawas, or when you have a cold glass of water, so what will happen outside the glass? Basa o uga? Jason.
Basta ma'am, mag-moist siya ma'am.
Yes, because that is because that is the effect of vapor pressure deficit, or VPD. And if the temperature is high, if it's so mainit, and then that's how transpiration is governed in plants and even in human beings like us, or animals. So if the weather is so, if if the weather and the temperature is so high, then transpiration rate is also high. So another one is the wind velocity during transport. If you are going to transport it, the wind will also remove moisture on the surface, drawing more moisture from the cells. So ma-increase din ang transpiration. And you take note that transpiration, as it increases, will, if the effect to post-harvest life, if it's excessive enough, is bad, no? Although its intention is good to cool down, but if it's excessive, so it will affect na the post-harvest life. Like, it will lose its saleable weight, it will wilt and shrivel, it will toughen the beans, discolored rambutan and lanzones, the change of flavor will occur also, and the loss of nutrients, especially the water-soluble vitamin C, no? And proteins, and it will accelerate senescence, or stem and rind, like the stem and rind breakdown of orange. Accelerate senescence, or yung aging or drying of the commodity. Now, so much for transpiration. So yun lang, no? Transpiration is actually a process wherein it will help the plants to cool down or to protect them from very high or excessive temperature. But then, in effect, it will make the shelf life, no, suffer also. So what is ethylene? Let's talk about ripening and senescence and also ethylene production. So have you heard about ethylene before, John?
Wala, ma'am.
How?
Ma'am?
Nakadug na mo og ethylene?
Murag kuan man siya, ma'am. Murag sa chemistry nga, murag flammable hydrocarbon nga gas.
Yes, it's a group of hydrocarbons. No, if you notice in this chemical formula, it's 2HC, 2 carbon, and 4H attached. No, this is the or C2H4 is the chemical formula for ethylene. So it's actually colorless, odorless compound, so you cannot see it. And it's actually a plant hormone produced by all plant tissues when wounded or stressed. So ethylene is actually everywhere, no? And this is very important hormone in plants, no? These are produced by plants, but these are found everywhere. So as you can see, this is the ethylene biosynthesis, or the creation of ethylene. So how does ethylene produce? So we have here the sum, no? It's a methionine, and we have an enzyme called ACC synthase. No, it's amino cyclopropane carboxylic acid, and this is used to degrade the ACC. So positive means it enhances the enzyme to create this ACC, or the amino cyclopropane carboxylic acid, which is the precursor for ethylene production. So this is the ethylene. So you have two enzymes here that are responsible for the degradation from the methionine pathway, no, or SAM. So fruit ripening, when the fruit ripens and it flowers, and if there is high presence of indoacetic acid or auxin, and wounding as well as also chilling condition, drought stress, flooding stress, this will trigger the production of the ACC synthase. So the ACC is produced, and upon fruit ripening, pag hinog na ang commodity of fruits and vegetables, pag yellow na, this ACC oxidase will then convert it into ethylene. But then, itong mga negative is marks as the parang prevention to prevent or to inhibit the enzyme synthase and oxidase. So, itong AOA or avinyl oxyl, something like that, and AVG, we will spell that out.
Memorize po na mo.
Ha?
Memorize po na mo.
Not really, but you just have to this one. These are called some inhibitors, the amino-ethoxyvinylglycine and the amino-oxyacetic acid. These are inhibitors to, yeah. You don't have to memorize for now, but later on when leave everything to your brain, no? Kasi as long as you can, kasi you can always Google them anytime with the technology that we have now. And even if we go exam, if we are having an exam, it's all gonna be open notes anyway. So you don't have to memorize actually. But for the sake of this discussion and also for learning purposes, then it is best to spell out especially for the first time. And if I have heard some of you here, it's your first time to hear even the word ethylene. So much more for this AOA or AVG. No? So yun na nga, and ang inhibitor naman ng ACC oxidase ay yung carbon dioxide or with anaerobic condition, which is lower than 35 degrees Celsius, no? And if it's conjugated also to malonyl coenzyme A, so it will not create ethylene, no? So these are just a figure to show you overall ethylene biosynthesis. So it can be conjugated or it can be inhibited or promoted. So do you understand the figure? Nasabtan ba? This is how to produce
Lojud, mom.
Okay. So
Libo kayo, ma'am.
So kaning ethylene mo ni ang nagapahinog, 'di ba, sa fruits. And but then because of science, because of post-harvest technology, we don't want most of our crops to ripen earlier, to increase, especially kung kung mag-export ta og banana going to Japan, going to US, and going to Europe. Alam nga na di ba ang saging dali ra kay mahinog within one day,
Yes,
hinog na. But we don't want it kasi pila ka months ang travel.
Yes, ma'am.
Di ba? Like for Europe, you would take maybe.
So, ginagamitan og ethylene, ma'am.
No. Kailangan i-prevent na to ang ethylene.
Oh, lagi.
So,
Delikadong.
Di mahinog, ma'am.
Yes, para
di mahinog.
Pero dali ra kayo ang pangpahinog. Kaya pwede ra nimo hulaton or pwede ra pod na applyan nimo siya.
Karburo.
But yes, take note na ma-take up nato ng karburo, but ang karburo or carbon calcium carbide, karburo or calcium carbide is harmful na siya. It has been proven that it can cause cancer. But
ang ano, ma'am?
Yes, ang karburo. But sadly,
karburo.
Yes, sadly mo gyapon na ang ginagamit sa ato ang market. It's so sad.
Naman na procedure po paggamit, ma'am.
Yes. Naayon sa?
Procedures paggamit sa kalburo po, nang dili idikit prutas. Dapat na ay hapinan sa prutas bago butang ang kalburo, good.
How naman day ka, Robert? Yes.
Nama mi manggahan, ma'am, bantog.
Wala mo nagagamit og ethylene?
Wala po, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, kanang wala pa ko kadaghan mo kadunggan ng ethylene.
Pero
Pero
kanang ma'am, pero kanang ethylene ma'am makadaot dili makadaot din na ma'am.
It's natural kay it come from plants. But then
Amo pala yun.
kanang baligya synthetic na siya. Kasi
Sige.
kanang tanang hormones, we have 5 major hormones: auxin, gibberellic acid, kadug na mo ana.
Ma'am.
Ethylene isa na siya sa 5 major hormones. So ang kaning 5 ka hormones dali na mawala kasi like here no, naay kani ang mga things na makapa-inhibit or exhibit sa biosynthesis niya. So kailangan mag-produce ang company og synthetic para dili siya daling mawala or ma-oxidize or ma-conjugate or ma-inhibit or ma-inhibit. So, I hope you get it, no? So, like kanang mga tambal na to, mga synthetic man na, medicine, like pesticide, these are synthetic. Kasi mas stable ang synthetic. When I say synthetic, dili siya normal na gipiga lang nimo, gi-extract nimo sa tanom. And then, mo imong gamiton kay naana siya pesticidal or nasa ethylene. Dili, kay mag-oxidize mo na dayon. Pero kung mga chemist, mag-create sila chemical, i-mix nila ang chemical formula niya, na mahimo siyang imimik niya ang kaning C2H4 using chemicals, mo na ang synthetic. No, it's also the same with all the medicines that we are taking, no, in the drugstore. Like the drugs meth. Kaila mo ana.
Asa na ma'am?
Meth. Meth nga drug kanang shabu. Pag shabu nagagamit siguro mo shabu ay. Between like also marijuana. Of course, you know marijuana.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so between them, asa ang synthetic? Asa ang natural?
Ang kuan ma'am, ang marijuana ma'am.
Marijuana, ma'am.
How daw ninyo naga-smoke siguro mo marijuana?
Ma'am, kuan ma'am, it's organic man good ma'am. It's organic. Don't panic, it's organic.
Gani kay ang shabu man murag kuano siya mo ganang haluan naman na siya ma'am no, di ba? Mao na synthetic na ma'am.
Yes, mo nang synthetic na siya, and that is also why na very dangerous siya. Not only because it's a prohibited drug, no. But the marijuana is a natural plant na ginahimo natong smoke. Ginahimo nilang smoke kasi bawal man dere, pero ambot lang. So bawal sa in some states in US, no, like in Netherlands, in Amsterdam. Have you been there? Sorry.
Soon, ma'am, soon.
Never been there, ma'am. Soon.
Sige lang, matulog taon yan, no, ato na lang damguhon. So dito sa
idamgo na lang na ma'am, mamo.
Gani, dito sa Ilaha, ano lang legal ang marijuana cause for medical purpose. But the concentration or ang amount na dapat i-take nimo is dapat minimal lang. Yung naa sila ay required level lang. No, like in the form of candy, chocolate, cake, and so on. Lahat ng products ay merong marijuana.
Diri sa tuwang di na pwede kay mga Pilipino kay kuan. Kay kulo disiplina, kulag disiplina.
Yes. 'Di ba? So, hawid kay mo ana no. Pero so going back, so ethylene is also same with the meth or the shabu, no. Ang ano kasi ang main ingredient sa shabu is yung meth, MET na siya thiol something. I cannot remember exactly. Anyway, so based on ethylene production, all the commodities are classified whether low, moderate, and high. No, it's also related kanina sa mga climacteric and non-climacteric crops. So, sa last time sa ating discussion, we have learned that climacteric plants like mango and banana have high production of ethylene when ripened, unlike for non-climacteric crops like pineapple, citrus, no, or durian, for example. They don't increase in ethylene after harvest. So they must be harvested ripe and mature already. Otherwise, kung harvestin mo ang durian nga wala pa nahinog, dili na siya tamis. Dili na siya mahinog pag-ayo, no? Unlike sa mangga na climacteric siya, as well as papaya, climacteric na siya. So, maski green pa nimo na pag-harvest, but later on, mo increase to gyapon ang iyang ethylene and it will just ripen through time. So, these are classified as low if they are lower than 1 NL or gram per of containing ethylene, like for okra, cabbage, rambutan, lanzones, cashew, papaya. If it's sinta, papaya, but if it's solo papaya, it's moderate. Green, avocado, banana, durian, they are under, chico and tomato are under moderate. And it's very high if it's more than 100, no? Like for passion fruit. So passion fruit is the highest actually in terms of ethylene. So you can use them as a bioethylene. Kung nakay gusto pahinugon ka ng panit sa passion fruit or ka ng passion fruit mismo, mo na imo ang gamiton as pampahinog sa mango, durian, or whatever. So factors that affect ethylene production and commodity response. So what are these factors that will alter ethylene, no, production? We have stage of maturity, physiological state. When we say stage of maturity, kapag immature pa siya, marami siyang ethylene. So, physiological state naman, if the ripe commodities produce more ethylene than unripe ones. So, pag hinog na siya, mas madami din siyang ethylene. So, factors that affect ethylene production and commodity response. Another one is environmental condition. So, high temperature will also produce more ethylene gas, and oxygen will hasten ethylene production. That's why sa modified packaging material, mas madami siyang carbon dioxide kaysa oxygen level. So, to avoid ethylene production. So, this carbon dioxide will reduce response to ethylene also. And lastly, stress and mechanical damage. If through water loss, insect or physical injury, and rats, this will all increase in ethylene production. So these factors will either promote or inhibit ethylene production. No? So we have weak so-called ethylene inhibitors as shown on the previous figure. So AVG mean aminoethoxy vinylglycine, no? While AOA is aminooxyacetic acid. These are some inhibitors. And inhibitors of the enzymes, yung enzyme na makakapag-degrade for the precursor ng ethylene, are temperature that is higher than 35 degrees Celsius. This will inhibit ACC oxidase enzyme. And the presence of cobalt ions and low oxygen, again, low oxygen condition. So what are the effects of ethylene on post-harvest life? So ano na ngayon ang the natural function ng ethylene? Sandali lang ha, I have to answer the call. Yes, hello? Alminda Fernandez. May mangosteen. Mangosteen. Ha? Wala ba ako sa balay? Oo. Ha? Unsa? Sige, message na ako ha. Sorry, naman ko gipadala ay gipa ano. Okay, so going back sa effects ng ethylene on post-harvest life. So it's a ripening agent. No, natural ripening, but most of the commercial na mabibili natin that we can buy on agricultural store are synthetic ethylene, like ethyl. Usually, ang brand niya ay ethyl. So it's for the ripening of fruits. So if you notice, this has been used a lot in mango for export, in banana for export, and also in citrus, but for yellowing lang. Kasi citrus and pomelo and oranges are non-climacteric. So they must be harvested when they are fully ripe and mature. So it will also cause yellowing of leaves and fading of flowers. Sa patay.
Formalin dito. Adi man ba kanang ako lang magkakarang ethylene man ba kay mura pog formalin kung sa patay pa kanang murag preserve sa ba?
Preserve na ang ethylene is not. It's the opposite. No? And yes. Like ang light nag-emit pod og ethylene, ang light, ang rubber, some of the furnitures and fixtures can also emit ethylene. So, it can cause the yellowing of the leaves and fading of the flowers. That's why malaya ang atong bulak. And also epinasty or bending of leaves and flowers. And also sprouting of the root, tuber, and bulb crops. We don't want our tubers like potato and sweet potato and white potato na may sprout, 'di ba? Kasi so it is the one of the cause of ethylene. Another one is the toughening of asparagus due to lignification. So yung asparagus na vegetable, you cannot because of the high level ng lignin, you cannot even eat that already or buy. Kasi it will toughen with ethylene. And the development of bitter flavor for carrots and cabbage. That's why sometimes carrots or cabbage are bitter because of the ethylene exposure. And the rosette spotting of lettuce, yung mayroon siyang spots, no? Or sleepiness of carnation, yung nagko-close ang petal ng carnation. And enhanced onset of irreversible wilting in flowers. Yung malaya na gid ang flowers. So, stress in fresh produce. So, what is stress? So, not only people or humans can be stressed, but also our commodities. A potentially injurious force or pressure acting on the commodity that may lead to reversible or irreversible strain such as damage or death. So, pag that could be wounding or favorable conditions, environmental conditions. So, in that way, there are a lot of ways wherein the commodities are stressed. So, una, wounding, wherein the cell will be break, is broken, the membrane is disrupted, and will decompartmentalize. Thus, it will release fatty acids and enzyme and will enhance oxidation reactions. So, with that, the transpiration, respiration, and ethylene production in tissues will occur. Sometimes when you drop the commodity and it will be damaged because of the impact. So because of improper harvesting or careless handling, shell browning, and aerial discoloration in mangosteen. That's why, have you noticed mangosteen, af maggahi kayang uban, halos dili nimo siya ma-open? Nakatry na mo ana? Mura siyag bato,
Yes,
no?
ma'am.
Pwede na siya ilabay sa
Oo.
imuhang, yes, sa imuhang uyab nga taksil. Wala pinagdadaanan.
Sana all.
So, shell browning or yung aerial niya will discolor. And increased synthesis of lignin. Yung lignin is the kind of complex carbohydrate which is very difficult to decompose by even humans, no? So they become very hard shell within 24 hours. So if the cell wall is also ruptured, and there will be access to fungi and bacteria which cause decay causing organisms. And the passageway of moisture also out of the cell. So when the damage produced through wounding or anything, if you include them in one packaging material, then matakdan ang uban, no, katong mga good quality. So there will be more rots, wilting or shriveling, or faster ripening or over ripening. So what are these physiological orders? So another is physiological processes in post-harvest are the physiological disorders. Now, so we are just less than a minute already. So anytime yung